The question I have been asked literally more than 100 times since the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump is this. Jared, do you think this will kick off gun control by the Republicans? It's a good question. Let's talk about it. Before I jump into it, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, that's Lear Capital. I've been talking a lot about gold in this show, but silver is a fantastic investment as well, and many financial experts believe that silver is the best kept secret in investing. It's an industrial metal, so it's used in everything from cell phones to batteries, electronics, solar, EVs, the list goes on and on. Now, 4 years ago, silver was in surplus. Solar was a tiny source of demand, and AI, which is the biggest power consumer in the country right now, was not even existent. Silver is now in deficit, solar is huge, AI is the all-new buzz, and they're all consuming silver. If you've considered silver and want to learn more, call my friends at Lear Capital. It's 1-800-260-5075 or leargg.com. Check out the new silver shortage report, and I think everybody can actually afford to own some silver. It's about $30 an ounce, and if it does go back to record highs, you'll be happy you bought some. Remember, the dollar's losing value, so if you want to convert those dollars to metals, which can retain money and increase in value, check out Lear Capital. Give them a call and ask about their IRA or 401ks, and there's no pressure to buy from them. They just want you to be aware of what you're doing. No pressure. 1-800-260-5075 or leargg.com. All right, first, the Pew Research report of 2023 showed that 47% of adults in rural areas of the United States are gun owners. Now that drops to 30% in suburbs and 20% in urban areas. Of course, those numbers are lawful gun owners, and they're also dependent on people who actually divulge that information when asked, which many of us don't. So I think those numbers are really low. Now the report also revealed some other patterns. Almost a third of American adults own a firearm, which is the highest such ratio in the world, which is why America's never been invaded. Also, 38% of white Americans own guns, as opposed to 24% of blacks, 20% of Hispanics, and 10% of Asians. Again, I think those numbers are much higher as well, especially since the increase of gun ownership during things like the mostly peaceful protests and destroyed cities and COVID. During that rush, a vast majority of it were minorities, specifically black females, was the biggest increase in gun ownership. Now, the divide between Republicans and Democrats is also worth noting. Republicans are twice as likely as Democrats to own a gun, while 79% of those Republicans who own guns say gun ownership increases safety, where about the same percentage of Democrats say it does not. A similar pattern marks urban-rural distinction, where 65% of rural Americans say owning guns adds to safety, where about 64% of urban Americans think it leads to lower safety. Now, the typical paid shills of the gun grabbers already started squawking about banning guns. In fact, the limp-wristed David Hogg was begging for attention a mere moments after Donald Trump was shot. These scumbags never let a tragedy go to waste. So the typical few that are always squawking, like big-headed David Hogg or Everytown or Giffords, they were all squawking immediately. So the question is, will the Republicans now talk gun control? The answer is, we're about to find out. Now today, Monday, marks the beginning of the Republican National Convention up in Milwaukee, and we will hear from speakers from within the ranks of the party talk policy for the next few years during this week. And this week will reveal which way the party is heading. And I have a feeling that many of those speeches that were already prepared have been changed since the events that happened in Pennsylvania. Now remember, I did a video last week about the GOP actually removing their very specific statements regarding the party's Second Amendment stance of the last 8 years. They did add one vague statement in its place, but it's just not the same. Now, I said in that video, it's kind of a nothing burger for me, because everything they said, in the party platform for the last 8 years, they've done absolutely nothing to obtain. But some people, rightfully so, were very upset that the Republican Party, the GOP, removed basically the Second Amendment from their stance. So this week will reveal a lot, but we, the gun owners of this country, absolutely need to push back, and push back often. Do not wait until bad legislation is submitted to get upset and reach out to your elected officials regarding the Second Amendment. Do it often, do it regularly, and start doing it today. Remember, the phone number for the U.S. switchboard, the U.S. Capitol switchboard, is 202-224-3121. You can ask the fine people at the switchboard, say, hey, connect me to my U.S. senator for the state of whatever, and they will connect you. Remember, the offices that you connected to, it's 99.999%, actually it's 100% not going to be the U.S. rep or the senator that answers the phone. It is a younger staff member who will take your concern down. They have to log your calls. They will ask, some of them, most of the time they ask you, where you live, so they know you're a constituent, but sometimes they don't. I call different states reps and senators all the time, and you should too. Also, remember that we absolutely need the almost 10 million gun owners who are not even registered to vote to get off their couches and be part of the fix rather than just bitching and moaning about how things are going. If that upsets you, then the shoe probably fits. Our forefathers died to set this system up, and you bitching and moaning about it rather than taking part of the system does nothing to help. Now, what do you think the RNC will yield this week? Will the Republicans join their Democrats in calling for gun control? Or will it just be those couple of rhinos we still need to pay attention to and put heat on regularly? I want to know what you think down below. Let me know. I'm interested in your opinions on this one. And if you love the Second Amendment like I do, then subscribe to this channel and I'll bring you information no matter where it happens in this country every single day. I appreciate y'all. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe, even more so now. Take care.